Hi everyone, welcome back to another podcast or vlogcast with Andy from Snow Camps Europe, and of course I am Paul from Ski Instructor Academy. Today we're going to find some more interesting conversations to rattle you with. I think we need to look at following on from last time where we talked about indoor ski domes and how to learn to ski as a beginner, intermediate or whatever, and the value of those products, is whether there's a value you can put onto any type of online coaching. What do you reckon, Andy?
Yes. So, we've... it's as if the internet has been flooded by people posting online tutorials, most of it free. But some of it now you've got to pay for.
Andy doesn't like that. You know what he's like. He's as tight as they come.
But and it's as you said, how useful is it going to be, whether it's free or whether you pay for it? How useful is it going to be once you actually get your boots on and you stand on snow? I suppose is the kind of the overriding question. And I think it's very good that people are putting out content, and obviously you do it, I do it, there are loads of other people that do it, and that content keeps people engaged. It can support people once they get to resort and they come and ski with us.
And a lot of people probably might want to just, from interest, they like to just hear about skiing.
Yeah, just stuff to watch. But I think when it comes to paying for online coaching, for something that I feel the person needs to be stood in front of you so you can see them, you can talk to them, you can watch them and just communicate with them. For me personally, I'm kind of like, would I pay for online ski coaching? I don't think I personally would.
It's hard. It's. I think we need to relate it to other products and other things. So, as my 30 plus years within sports coaching, biomechanics, from sports science and everything, I know the value of an online coach can be and can't be. One of the biggest problems you have is, as they found out within the fitness industry in general, is we're all individuals. And the difficulty with like an online product is often it's just aimed, it's just thrown out and see what hits the wall and sticks. Is it aimed specifically at your line of progression, or are we just talking about how to make a good short turn, for example? But they have no idea what your starting point is and where your end point potentially could go. That creates a problem with an online product, especially within a technical field like skiing. It's going to be difficult. I mean, from my side in SIA, we just offer it as a free service because we're in a position where it's just supporting our other businesses, if you like, and we don't want to be charging people for it. And people can follow our ski analysis series and see that. But even that, as good as I might say it is, how wonderful our ski analysis series is, it is difficult because it may be specific when I was dealing with the last guy to him, but even you, it might not even fit into your learning progression, you know, and you might watch and go, that's great what he's saying, that's exactly what I need to do. It might not be, actually. I'm sorry.
I think with your analysis videos, the difference is you are doing an analysis of somebody who has come to ski with you, who you've then worked with, and you can show a before and after because you videoed them through the progression of that course over a number of weeks. And what you're doing is you're putting that out there for people to see. This is how we worked with this skier from this level to this level for them to achieve a goal, which is different to you've never met somebody. You say, send us normally a piece of video from they'll send you a piece of video from their phone which is poor quality, and they'll say, please fix my skiing. I think it's the two very different things,
which is why I think some products, you know, they will offer like an online face-to-face with them. You can discuss things and talk to them, and it can be helpful. And, you know, don't get me wrong, if somebody's got a hobby and they've got the money and they're happy to invest, and then it's not going to do you any harm, maybe. But sometimes information can actually be blocking you. And we had a case on one of our ski analysis series where it was specific to where we had to say, hang on, there's too much information going into this guy. He's getting flooded because he wants to hear everything. He wants to hear every single potential possible solution. And it's like, I don't know, going in for heart surgery, and instead of the guy saying, yeah, I'm just going to make a snit here and I'll cut here and I'm just going to be, doing this, he starts talking about every single part of the heart, and he'd go, hang on a second, somebody might want to hear that actually. And this is the problem. I think a lot of days, when I spoke to somebody about this recently, they said the same. A lot of people do just want to talk. They want to be able to talk all this, oh, my subtalar joint's done this and now I'm moving into my hip socket, and they want to start talking about. Is it relevant to 99% of skiers? No, it's not. And I can tell you that from the fitness industry, that in general, there isn't a one program fits all. And most online coaching is trying to offer that first. Is a one line fits all. Do this exercise and it will improve your outside ski balance. Do this exercise and it'll keep your body down the hill. Do this. That is not going to work. I can almost guarantee that it's not going to work. It requires, the difference is, Andy, I think it's the reason some instructors are good at what they do and some aren't, is some instructors are just extremely passionate about what they want you to do. They drive it in. I can recall one of a very, very good trainer, a very good World Cup slalom skier who works with us. And he said, he says, I can remember, Paul, in one of your lectures, something hit me, was that I had never understood what you meant about like passionately driving something across to somebody when you were talking about core stability, something which every ski instructor will bring up eventually and go, the importance of core stability, etc. Look, I agree that probably every instructor had, said that to their client at some point. But what he said about the way I put it across was, you put it across in such a way that it was impossible to avoid what you were saying. And I think that's the difference with face-to-face, driving a passion across to somebody and saying, hey, you're not getting this. I am talking about something here of, core stability. I want you to do this. I want you to feel this. I want you to do these exercises. And that's all I'm talking about for 4 months, core stability. And I think this is where online coaching has a lot of assumptions to it.
Yeah, I think if I was, let's say it was a personal trainer, and they were sat in their house and I had a camera set up so they could see me, and let's say we were doing a squat and I do a squat, then you're going to be able to correct me because you can see me and tell me, do this, don't do that, turn your legs out, whatever it be. But I just don't see that somebody can be sat in their house and coaching somebody to ski and they can't see them on the hill. Now, yeah, granted, they might have a clip of video from their phone, but again, normally poor quality. And that's only a moment in time.
From a certain angle.
From a certain angle on a certain slope, doing a certain thing. And that might not even be the certain thing that the online coach is trying to address or sell, let's say. So for me, I find it very difficult to see how the average skier could get value. Now, if you are an extremely competent skier, you're already, let's say, a level 3 ski teacher, and you understand what you're doing and you understand what you need to improve.
Yeah.
And you've got the self-awareness, etc. Then you could probably, just from a conversation with somebody, realize and have a light bulb moment and then take that onto the slope the next day. But again, that means you need to be in the mountains, let's say, or going to an indoor slope the next day to put that into practice.
Yeah, so I remember doing analysis for exactly that, a level 3 ski instructor who sent in some short turns. And I did this analysis, which was quite technical. It talked about physics, and it also talked about anatomy in the body, etc. And then somebody, one of the haters jumped online and said, this is far too technical. Why on earth does he need to know this? This is ridiculous. He is just far too far in the back seat, or whatever it was, some simple comment. And because I don't delete those comments, I always leave these comments up. Somebody actually jumped in and went, you obviously didn't listen to it properly, because as Paul explained, he is a level 3 ISIA ski teacher. He should know those things. Okay, and this is the relevance again thing that you're saying. True. It's probably not relevant for me to teach in that method if this was just a guy doing short turns. I would have kept it much more, let's just get this guy centered, talk about arm carriage or body position or whatever. But in the case of this guy who's a level 3 ski teacher, it was important when I give him the feedback that he understands all the elements. And yeah, look, he can then select, because he's a ski teacher, what he wants to then use from that. But that was the difference, and I think that's what you're trying to get the message across. Ski online coaching requires you to have probably quite a high understanding of skiing for it to be beneficial. If you are 98% of people who ski, 2 weeks a year or something, probably you just need to get out there and ski with somebody who you have faith in and confidence in. Yeah. That will help you.
I think tips and tricks videos. So let's say arm carriage is always one that comes up. How to improve your arm carriage. Here are 3 tips and tricks. I think things like that are quite okay. But it's this very in-depth stuff that I just don't think can be done remotely.
Yeah, and I think that could be a bit of the old school in us, sometimes thinking that we're not modernized and into this world of the modern technology and the things, and maybe we want the old standard coaching. But I see the benefit of both. But I agree also that you're never ever going to get by from somebody being face to face with you and standing there. There will always be improvements. I see a lot of these going on at the minute where you'll say, before and after, and look how much this guy's improved with a couple of our online coaching sessions, when actually that happens anyway. I mean, you got to remember, a company like ours could have 500 in effect trainees coming in, and I can show you a video on day 1 and show you a video on day 2 and go, look how much they've improved. Of course they've improved because they're now under coaching, they're under instruction. And even the simplest thing, like you said about a squat, I can watch Andy do a squat and go, well, Andy, from my technical thing, I'm going to help you, and the next time he does a squat, it'll be better. It's not that hard. The issue becomes is when you get somebody, then there are a few that are difficult to teach. There are some people either because they're not coachable or because they are challenged with their coordination and agility. Those sort of people, I bet you they're not posting them online as much. There's always going to be candidates who are good.
You're always going to post the success stories. Yes. Look at how I improved this person's skiing via my online coaching.
In 3 seconds.
Yeah. But then show us the other 8 that you didn't.
Or the other 8 who are normal, who took a little bit longer to get the understanding. And this is the problem. Skiing's not easy, and as we go through this podcast series, and as you'll see Jamie and I mean, we're doing one soon. I think the next one's going to be on powder skiing, and it will be tips and tricks. It'll be simple. Look, I can't start going on too much about the science behind it and about the forces and stuff. Yeah, tips and tricks, what things can I do, with powder skiing, for example. Great. And the more in-depth analysis series we then do when we're picking up one of our students and really going into the nitty-gritty of anatomy, etc. Great for certain people. They'll enjoy it. And even though those people who maybe don't understand it all will still enjoy it because it's a bit of a topic of, I've never thought about it like that. But you need a good instructor, basically, and somebody who's skiing with you, watching you, observing you. You can't put a value on that if you find that guy or girl.
I agree.
So is online coaching going to help you? Well, I would say if you're going to go down that road, make sure that you are not sucked in by social media again. Be aware of the reality of this. Let's face it, anybody can sell a product and make you, buy into it. A good example is I'm a keen photographer and do a lot of video, etc. Now, I could choose to buy, let's say, a €300 course that teaches me how to use Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom, or I can just go onto YouTube and just actually get free tutorials and go, right, I need to know how to color grade this. How do you color grade in Final Cut Pro? Or how do I put a green tinge in the background of my shadows? I can do that. The advantage of an online course would be that instead of getting just a a million messages coming up on YouTube telling me how to do something. I've got like an order of events. Like, this is how you start on Photoshop. This is the first thing, how you organize your files. This is then how you crop a picture. This is then how you know what size to export. And it's got like
a structure.
It's got a structure to the program.
Yeah.
That's what you're paying for, really, as a structure. Whereas if you're bothered, if you can commit a bit of time, you will find exactly that free of charge by just typing in the right words into YouTube.
It's funny because the biggest searched thing on YouTube is how to.
And that's it. And that's why you should allow people like a Ski Instructor Academy, for example, who can basically monetize and make in the background at no cost to you money, for example, than actually giving somebody a lot of money, because you don't need to do that, because you can find the identical product. Of course, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of rubbish out there, and be careful who you're following, and this is the problem with online coaching. When I watch a lot of it, it's an echo. You can hear it's an echo of somebody else. They've either watched our channel or a Tom Gelly or somebody who's pretty good at this sort of stuff, and they're just echoing what they've said, and you can hear that they're not really sure about it. They don't know, but or they're, you can see they're young and they're still developing, but let's face it, COVID's created this gap as well, where people are desperate to do something, so they're selling themselves at the minute. And if you're going to follow somebody who's 25 or 30 years old, that's fine. It's up to you. But I wrote an article, I remember, for the press once, where I said, my idea of a coach is not somebody who's that age. They tend to be grey hairs and a little bit older, and they've made a lot of mistakes, and they've got a lot of experience. It doesn't necessarily come down to what qualifications are. They don't necessarily have to be a physician, a sports scientist, or whatever it is, but they've got a lot of life behind them, and they bring that experience into it. And again, Andy, I think it's careful with the online coaching that I've seen recently, where I've seen people doing javelin turns, dolphin turns, standing one ski on their head and going down with their arms tied behind their neck and whatever. Honestly, really, it's just stop it. Just don't do it. Just start skiing.
Yeah, I think the dolphin turn thing is, look, I can do a dolphin turn. This is how you do it. Chances of most people achieving it is very, very slim.
But don't get us wrong. We understand the end result of a dolphin turn is the fundamental functioning thing of fore and aft balance. Absolutely, I get that. But I'm sorry, do you know your client's got 2 arthritic knees? He's actually 57 years old, and he sits behind a desk all the time, and if he did that dynamic movement, he'd pull half his hamstrings off. You don't know anything about when you're just throwing an exercise into them. And it's like, look, I remember skiing with the racer guy, Ross Green, and he said to me, just go around skiing one ski, you'd be fantastic. He's right. Ski 3 weeks on your outside ski and lift the other one in the air, and eventually you're going to balance on your outside ski.
Nowhere else to go.
It's as simple as that, really. And it's like, I think you have to be very cautious. If you love talking about skiing, then hey, there's lots of free things you're going to get around. You'll have lots of conversations to talk in the bar about your skiing and stuff. Is there a need to be paying somebody? It's nice that you're supporting those people. You're giving them, some money when perhaps they're not able to work this season. But I think you need to find somebody you connect with, who you feel you can learn from, and they're not just BS. They're not just giving you...
not just out for your money.
Yeah, exactly. Bit of a weird subject, but we thought we would to bring it up because it was asked, together with a lot of other, where people actually are naming people, which is quite interesting, and asking my opinion about those people. We will always be honest. We try our best to give the best information we can. That's it for another one of our podcasts.
Brilliant. Just one last thing. If you have got any ideas or topics that you would like us to discuss, then send them in, stick them in the comments, and we will get to them in due course.
Absolutely.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.